Hi, how you doing? Fluttershy is a pony that didn't stand out to me that much when I first started watching the show. I was drawn much more towards Rainbow Dash, Applejack and other characters like that. However, as time has gone on and I've rewatched episodes, I've realised, ignoring my unshakable Rainbow Dash bias, Fluttershy is probably my favourite pony. This is the first of my character analysis videos that is fully positive. As with Fluttershy, unlike Rarity or Applejack, there isn't nearly as much negative reception around her. So instead of saying why she isn't bad, I'm just going to be pointing out what makes her a good character. Again, possibly one of the best. If you enjoy this and you want to see more like it, let me know, and if you haven't already, check out the other character analysis videos I've made. I've linked the playlist in the description. With that said, let's finally get onto the video and explore what I even mean by the quiet genius of Fluttershy. So Fluttershy is the element of kindness. Now, one of the reasons she might have not immediately stuck out to me and maybe some other people is kindness doesn't always look powerful. It doesn't look like a battle or a dramatic speech, sometimes it just looks like Fluttershy. Gentle tone with a quiet confidence, a smile that always says, "I understand." But under all of that softness, there's a force that changes people, not just with comfort but with intention. Fluttershy's greatest strength has always been her kindness. Obviously, that's her element, and it's not the passive, soft-edged version we usually associate with the word. It's active, thoughtful, and maybe even strategic. Fluttershy is someone who chooses to understand others, even when they make it difficult. She doesn't just listen, she sees ponies. Whether it's a cranky manticore, a misunderstood cockatrice, or a friend acting out of character, she always tries to meet others with empathy before judgment. And more often than not, it works. It's not because she's lucky, it's because she's smart about it. She doesn't charge into situations, she observes and waits. She figures out what the real problem is before she says a word. That level of emotional awareness isn't just impressive, it's incredibly rare. She's basically the main six's emotional tactician, even if she doesn't always get credit for it. Think about how many situations in the show are resolved not by spells or speeches, but by Fluttershy simply understanding what someone needs. She doesn't overpower problems, she dissolves them, and that's a very different kind of intelligence. Not book smarts, not flashy logic puzzles, but emotional intelligence. The ability to recognise feelings and navigate complex social situations. The element of kindness isn't just about being nice. It's about knowing when to draw the line and the subtle calibration between knowing when to wait, when to speak, and when to act. It's something most ponies never quite master, but Fluttershy makes it look effortless. And more than that, her kindness spreads. It changes the ponies around her. Characters open up in her presence, Discord is reformed because of her, Twilight grew more empathetic because of her, Rainbow Dash, as bold as she is, trusts her, not out of obligation, but because Fluttershy's way of leading with kindness makes people want to listen. When we talk about powerful ponies, it's easy to think about the ones who blow up mountains or lead armies or invent spells, but power can also mean influence, and it can mean knowing exactly what to say in the moment when someone needs to hear it. And in that sense, Fluttershy might be one of the most powerful characters in the entire show. There's only one pony in all of Equestria who can keep a literal god of chaos in check, and it's not Twilight with a spell or Celestia with royal authority, it's Fluttershy. Just Fluttershy. From the moment she meets Discord, something changes. Not for her, but for him. He's used to messing with ponies, breaking rules, turning the world upside down for fun, but when he meets Fluttershy, the game stops feeling like a game. She doesn't fight him, she doesn't scold him, she treats him like a person. And that throws him completely off. And that's the brilliance of Fluttershy's dynamic with Discord. It's not just that she's nice to him, it's how she's nice. She sets boundaries without raising her voice, and she sees through his nonsense without needing to call it out. Even when he's being annoying, dangerous, or just plain chaotic, she talks to him like someone worth understanding. That's not because she's naive, that's because she is the element of kindness. And it works, over and over again. Discord listens to her. Only her. When she's disappointed in him, it hits harder than 1,000 friendship lessons. When she's proud of him, you can see him light up. She's not just his friend, she's his moral anchor really. The one who makes him want to be better. What's even more impressive is how consistently she handles him. Discord is wildly unpredictable. He's basically a living stress test for your patience. And yet, Fluttershy stays calm. She knows when to let him be weird and when to pull him aside and say, hey, that's not okay. It's subtle, but she's always steering him with quiet influence. And let's not forget, this is Discord we're talking about. A being who once mind-controlled the main six, turned Ponyville into a surrealist nightmare, and could probably unmake reality if he got bored enough. And Fluttershy's the one who made him want to play nice. Not because he has to, but because he values her opinion, and that is power. There's something genius about how she balances compassion with firmness. She never tries to fix Discord, she accepts him but doesn't excuse him. She forgives him but never forgets to expect better. And that's the kind of trust that transforms people. In any other story, she'd be the side character, the soft-spoken one in the background, but in her own quiet way, Fluttershy completely rewrites the rules of what strength looks like. She doesn't overpower chaos, she understands it and builds trust with it. In doing so, she brings out the best in someone no one else could reach. Fluttershy's story isn't built on dramatic transformations or sudden epiphanies. It's something rarer, real, gradual, and earned growth. From the first episode to the last, she stays true to herself, but she gets stronger and more assured. And what makes that arc so brilliant is how seamlessly it blends with who she already was. Fluttershy doesn't change into someone new, she becomes more of who she's always been. It starts small, a little more eye contact maybe, a little more honesty when something's bothering her. She begins to speak up, not just for animals, but for herself. It's not loud and flashy, but it's there, and over time that voice, soft as it is, starts carrying more and more weight. What's so beautiful about Fluttershy's confidence arc is that she never abandons her core traits. She doesn't stop being gentle or sensitive, she refines those things into tools. Her kindness becomes conviction, her empathy becomes courage, her timidity becomes precision, knowing exactly when to act and doing it with intention. You see it in the big moments, sure, when she stands up to a dragon, when she takes a lead in saving her friends, when she stares down a literal god of chaos, but it's also there in the small ones. Running her animal sanctuary with quiet authority, asserting herself in group decisions, gently but firmly calling out her friends when they're in the wrong. She doesn't have to raise her voice to take control. People listen to her because she means what she says. It's not just that she grows more confident, it's that the show respects that confidence. Fluttershy isn't written as a background pony, she gets episodes where she leads, and solves problems in her own way. That's not a sidekick, that's a fully realised, deeply competent character. Her arc shows us that bravery isn't about being fearless, it's about acting in spite of fear. And Fluttershy is constantly doing that. Every step she takes outside of her comfort zone is a conscious choice. It's not easy for her, but she knows it matters, and somehow that makes it more heroic than any big magical blast or villain showdown. By the end of the series, Fluttershy hasn't overcome her shyness, she's grown with it. She knows who she is, she knows what she's good at, and she moves through the world with a quiet kind of authority that doesn't need to prove itself, because she already knows she's enough. It's the kind of growth that doesn't scream for attention, but once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it makes Fluttershy one of the most rewarding characters to watch, because every little moment of confidence feels like something she earned. Not every pony in Equestria is a genius with spells or a natural born leader, but intelligence isn't just about books or battle strategy, it's about perception, insight, and knowing how others think. And when you look at it that way, Fluttershy might just be one of the smartest ponies in the entire show. Her emotional intelligence is off the charts. She doesn't just notice when someone's upset, she understands why they are upset. She can read a situation instantly and respond with exactly what's needed, whether that's a gentle word, a firm boundary, or just giving someone space. It's not just instinct, it's skill. She's trained it through years of caring for animals and dealing with complex personalities. Where Twilight might research a problem and Rainbow might charge at it, Fluttershy pauses, listens, and considers everyone involved. And then she acts with intention. And that's a real intelligence, emotional and precision, that makes her such a stabilising force in the group. Even outside of big dramatic moments, you can see it in how she manages her animal friends. They aren't just pets, and they're wild, often chaotic creatures with wildly different needs and temperaments. And Fluttershy understands them all. She translates their behaviour and mediates disputes. It's like she's running a one-man diplomatic corps for the entire animal kingdom, and she never loses her cool doing it. She also has an incredible ability to shift social dynamics. When other ponies are spiralling or stuck in conflict, Fluttershy can gently cut through the noise and bring them back to the heart of the matter. No ego, no performance, just a simple, clear understanding of what needs to be said. And maybe most impressively, she teaches others without making them feel small. When she corrects someone or stands her ground, it's never from a place of superiority, it's from care and values. And that makes ponies listen, because they know she's not trying to win the argument, she's trying to help. Fluttershy doesn't need to be the smartest pony in the room, but time and time again, she is. Because intelligence isn't always loud and it isn't always about being right, sometimes it's just about knowing how to make others feel safe enough to grow, and that's something Fluttershy has mastered. Now, I did say in the intro I wouldn't be negative, but I do have to address that Fluttershy does have her critics. Most of the time, the issues people raise isn't with who she is, but how consistently she's written. You'll often hear fans say things like, "Didn't she already learn this lesson, and why is she still afraid of that?" It's a sentiment that pops up, especially in the earlier seasons, when her episodes sometimes feel like they hit the same beats. Shy Fluttershy is scared, Fluttershy learns to be brave, the end. Until next time when we do it all again. And yeah, there is some truth to that. Her development can feel uneven across episodes. One week she's confidently standing up to Discord, the next she's too scared to speak at a group meeting. Some of that is just the nature of an ensemble cartoon, where different writers handle different stories and long-term continuity can slip through the cracks. But it's also because Fluttershy's growth is built on repetition. She doesn't just conquer her fears once and move on, she chips away at them slowly over time. In that sense, the inconsistency might not even be a flaw, it might be realism. Confidence doesn't happen in a straight line. Some days you feel strong, other days you don't. And for someone like Fluttershy who built her identity around being quiet, cautious and inward, every act of bravery takes conscious effort. Her setbacks aren't erasures of progress, they're part of the process. It's also worth pointing out that even when she seems to slip backward, she never falls all the way. The Fluttershy Season 6 might hesitate to speak in public, but she still leagues ahead of the one who couldn't make eye contact in Season 1. There's always a baseline of growth under the surface, even if the show doesn't always highlight it. So yeah, I would be dumb if I didn't admit her arc has its bumps, but those bumps don't erase how far she's come. If anything, they make her more relatable, because real confidence, the kind that lasts, isn't built overnight. It's built through trying, failing, and trying again, and Fluttershy is nothing if not persistent. It's easy to admire the characters who change the world by charging into battle or inventing new spells, but Fluttershy shows us that some of the most important changes start quietly, through listening, patience, and the choice to show up with kindness when it's hardest to do so. And the more you look at her, the more you realise that Fluttershy isn't just a great character, she's a great role model. She's a reminder that gentleness is not the opposite of strength, that emotional sensitivity doesn't mean weakness. In fact, when everyone else is spiralling out of control, it's Fluttershy's calm presence that holds things together. Her superpower isn't about force, it's about connection, and that's something anyone can learn from. Because in real life it's not flashy to be kind, and it doesn't always get recognition. You won't always get a friendship medal for taking the time to understand someone, or for handling a conflict with grace, or for choosing to believe someone can grow when they're at their worst. But Fluttershy does all of that, consistently, and she never expects a reward for it. She leads by example, not to prove a point, but because she knows it's the right thing to do. She also shows us that growth is quiet, and it's okay for change to take time. Fluttershy doesn't become confident overnight, it took effort, setback, years of building up self-trust, and because of that her growth feels earned. She didn't have to stop being shy to become strong, she had to learn how to live alongside that fear. And that's a lesson that feels a lot more real than a single brave moment could ever capture. But maybe the most valuable thing we can learn from her is this: influence doesn't require volume. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room to make an impact. Fluttershy rarely demands attention, but when she does speak up, ponies listen. Because her words come from a place of sincerity, clarity and care. That kind of influence sticks with you. It resonates long after the moment has passed. In a way, Fluttershy teaches us to slow down, to notice the details, to treat others with curiosity rather than judgment, and in a world that often pushes people to be louder, bolder and more aggressive, she's a quiet rejection of that pressure. She shows us that it's okay to lead with softness, that gentleness can move mountains. Not all at once, maybe, but piece by piece. So no, Fluttershy isn't the flashiest, she's not the funniest, she's not the most outwardly impressive pony, but that's kind of the point. Her genius is in subtlety and steadiness, in the way she changes the world. Maybe not with force, but with patience. And maybe, just maybe, the world could use a little more of that. And that's it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This one was pretty fun for me since Fluttershy is, ignoring Rainbow Dash, my favourite pony, and definitely the best written one in my opinion. Since this character analysis thingy has become a bit of a series, let me know which pony, main 6 or not, you guys would like to see in a future analysis video. If you did enjoy this one, leave a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And if you really want to support the channel even more, you could become a channel member. Shout out to the Red Ravioli for being the first one of them. Anywho, I've kept you guys for long enough now. Thanks for watching, I've been Dash, and I'll see you sometime soon.
Always works. Oh, almost always.